And we're live.
Okay, welcome to the Clark County Fire District 6 Board of Commissioners meeting, July 7th, 2020. And we're live. Along with Chief Maurer and Secretary to the Board, Dave Taylor. So I will see if there's any additions to the agenda by any of the board members.
None here.
None here. Okay, read and approve the minutes of the June 16th, 2020 regular meeting and board workshop. We actually didn't have a workshop, but regular meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence. Apparently there was some correspondence.
There were 4 items. One of them directly to the district was the Washington State Auditor has completed the audit of the risk management group and has scheduled an exit conference for July 13th at 1:30 p.m. I believe that's a telephonic, Chief, is that correct?
That's correct. It'll be a Zoom meeting.
Yes. And then the other items were copies of Governor Inslee's proclamation regarding public meetings and the Washington State Legislature extending the statutory waivers. So we have to continue to have online meetings. I did note that unless the board could not hold, the way I took this was the board could not hold meetings and limit the number of people and then do the rest online because there's a delay in the broadcast of a few seconds, as I recall. And it seemed to state that that wouldn't be acceptable. It has to be able to be heard at the same time. I know, it's kind of confusing. It was a long proclamation. And the last item was the Governor Inslee's county-by-county phased reopening discussion in a paper he produced. It's all very interesting reading. I think the board has copies.
Yep.
And that's it.
Thank you. Next item is citizen communication. And if anybody watching would like to send us a question on the YouTube, it'll be picked up. If they come in later, we'll go back to that, just in case anybody takes a minute to type something in. So we could come back to that. So we're going to committee reports, health and safety report. Chief Russell or Chief Maurer, one of the two.
So I will be presenting that to the board tonight. We had one injury that was an elbow injury, no time lost, and I'm sorry, another injury that was knee pain after a slip on the floor. One level 3 exposure on broken glass, no accidents. Old business was radios working in buildings, and we're working on a county policy for that one. Exposure protocol and rehab unit. So we're transitioning our old air rig into an air rehab combo. New business were some lighting issues and cord tripping hazards and eye wash stations at 63. Those are all being addressed by Chief Newberry.
So we didn't spec any eye washing stations?
We discussed that today in staff. We thought we had to spec them, but he's going to look more into that.
None here. None here.
There was no parade, obviously no parade. Risk management group. Mr. Pfeiffer, do you have anything on that?
I do, yeah. The risk management group met July 1st via Zoom. We read and approved the minutes from the October 2nd, 2019 meeting. That was the last meeting that we had. I can take you through the financial statement. The fund balance is $2,423.87. The claims reports impacting District 6, it appears we had a tablet that was left on scene back in December of 2019. That was unrecovered and a claim was paid for that. We moved forward into new business and nominated officers for the 2020 year. Myself as president. Vice chair is. Yep. And the vice chair is Larry Bartell. Secretariat is Tina.
Good.
The accident and sickness policy was renewed, and there was a change of carrier for the VFIS property and casualty program. Lastly, we approved the authorization invoice transmittal of a list of invoices and claims. We have a new meeting set for October 7th, 2020. It's needed for the 2021 budget and policy renewal. And that's it.
Thank you. Excellent. Perfect. No questions. Triple FB meetings, obviously the 8th, which is tomorrow. I'll call your attention to the consent agenda, gentlemen.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We are going to move on to the chief report, personnel action report.
So small report this week, but the district got notification that firefighter Josh Mattert will be returning to work at CCFD 6 from active duty November 1st of 2020. So Mattert has been deployed with the Air Force the past 2 years.
And he's coming back. Excellent. Facilities?
I will turn that over to Chief Newton.
Thank you, Chief Maurer. Mr. Chairman, included in your board packet is the most recent facilities update. There has been most of the work that's just been contained or included in the training tower itself. But we'll hit over it real quick. Station 62, we finished the punch items. There's still some lighting problems that we're dealing with. And then additionally, I'm receiving proposals to repair some sidewalk and front apron damage that's just occurred over the years. It's becoming a bit of a safety hazard for the public walking on the public sidewalk. I'll have those bids hopefully within the next week or two, and I'll present those to the fire chief when I get them. Station 63, the condition of the lawn is improving, but as I mentioned before, we gave them 30 days to implement a plan to recover get the grass growing again. So I'll wait to comment until after that timeline is passed. Signage, we're still researching the feasibility of the backlit signs at Station 63 that are on the building. The reason for that is just the routing of the electrical cables. We're trying to come up with some solutions to alleviate any problems we might have getting into the walls. So we just don't want to do more damage, but we think we have a solution. Still working on the artwork, but the exciting thing is the training tower. Unfortunately, there was a septic tank that was discovered at the training tower in addition to the oil tank. So we had to have that remediated last week. There'll be a change order for that forthcoming. The training tower is underway. All of the skeleton red iron has been erected, and the curbs that support the first floor walls are installed. The second floor deck is installed, and today we were going through the anchors for the rescue anchors, making sure we had those set where we wanted to have them set so they weren't a hazard. Some of them go on the floor, some of them go on the ceiling, so we're working together on that. The grade is being prepared for asphalt and concrete right now. That oil water separator we've been talking so much about is on its way and should arrive and be set this week. And kind of same old stuff with the rest of the project, the electrician and the lighting plan and things like that. So we have a solid completion date, which I had them sign their names in blood, of August 28th to complete the project. I've also included in the packet number 7A, which is the change orders. It's up to date as of today. and I'm available for any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Chief.
Of course.
Any questions for Chief Newberry?
None here.
Sounds like a pretty solid report. And congratulations on moving things forward.
Thank you.
Never easy. COVID-19 update.
So I included in your board packet the update for our latest update for COVID-19 out of Department of Health. So we've had 15,000 individuals in Clark County tested with 1,011 positive results. And current COVID cases that are hospitalized at this point are 18.
So we had a little bump.
Little bump, yes.
I did read in the paper that 98665 is the hardest hit area in the county. Is that true?
That's probably accurate. We had a big hit with a nursing home facility that probably bumped our numbers up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Anything else for the chief, gentlemen? Hearing none, we're going to go to old business annual reports.
So the 2016, 17, and 18 annual reports have all been posted to the public website. We did have one individual that requested a public records request to obtain them, and those have been sent off to them. Chief Schmidt is currently working on the 2019 annual report, and rather than just gathering data as we had in the past, we're having First Watch, who organizes our data, build templates for us, so it'll be a lot easier to pull it in the future, and we can get it posted quicker. But we anticipate he'll meet with First Watch at the beginning of August, and I anticipate by the end of August you will have the 2019 annual report.
Good.
Great, thank you.
Any other old business? New business, transfer to capital reserve funds, 6258. And you, Chief. Is the chief still there?
Let's see. Got disconnected. Let me add her. Hang on one sec.
Okay.
Hi, Dave.
Okay, I'll merge you back. Okay, everybody should be back. Chief
Are you
Mallory,
back,
back?
Chief?
I'm back. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I accidentally hit end call instead of mute.
I hate that. I do that too. We're going to new business and the transfer to capital reserve fund.
So I'm not sure if this needs a motion of the board or not. I would have to ask the secretary that, but there was a schedule that was adopted in a board resolution to move money into capital reserve fund to pay off the 2 new engines. So I need to make that transfer into the capital reserve fund of $192,000.
Mr. Chairman, if I could jump in here.
Please
This
do.
is Board Secretary Taylor. In my prior role back then, when we passed the last lid lift, we had a schedule for that, but I believe in that first year we just completely restored all those funds to 6258. So I believe this adopted schedule is moot, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure we restored all those funds already.
Yeah, the funds were restored, so I just wasn't sure if this was still accurate and needed to happen.
I don't think it does. I think that kind of went away when we just did a mass restoration that first year.
Okay.
So,
But I would let's talk about it for a minute. So the next time we purchase an engine or two, or whatever we purchase, we're going to reduce that fund. We could reduce the fund to zero, and then we would have to pass another resolution to start it up again, to transfer it to the capital reserve. I would prefer to keep putting money in there so I don't have to ask the public for money to buy equipment. And the one I'm looking at is scheduled for 2000 through 2021. The resolution.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at as well.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That was the schedule. However, after passing the lid lift, we put it all back at once. Because the idea was to maintain a 1.2 million.
And Commissioner, if I may, that fund is funded enough to purchase apparatus if and when the district decides to. So we could hold off on that movement for now and look at it again in the future if you choose.
I guess, Dave Taylor, the question I have is, we did the resolution, and it says the amount transferred to capital reserve. It doesn't say anything about keep not transferring once it's made up. So 2020 and 2021 both have figures in it. So if we didn't want to do that, we'd have to take some sort of action not to do it. Am I seeing it wrong?
I don't recall if the board actually took action to pull this schedule. To the best of my knowledge, we did not pull the schedule. Does Commissioner Collins recall?
No, I just thought it became
moot.
It became moot and not necessarily null and void, but we fulfilled the intent of this prior.
And I thought that it was something we were going to try to do in the future to make sure we always had the cash there, especially if there's an emergency, to purchase apparatus without having to steal it from somewhere else out of the budget.
I don't think you're far off of the mark of the intent. We wanted to make sure that we had the money for it and that it was always replenished. However, we did replenish it. And so the intent was to always make sure that we had to repay ourselves, so when it came time to buy another one, we had that money.
And when we spend this money, do we do another resolution to replenish it every time? That's what I'm thinking. Instead of replenishing it every time, I would just soon do something so that each year we put some money into that fund, so we know that the money's there, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't want to ever go to the public for bonds to purchase apparatus. I prefer to do it with the money that we have set aside. And even though we've replenished those funds, at some point in the next year or two, we're probably going to spend some of it, if not all of it, and then we're going to be back in the same boat. So, I don't know. The way the resolution is written, it doesn't say anything about once it's paid off, not putting money in 2020 or 2021. That's what I'm looking at.
Commissioner Losbeck, does it sound like this was paid off in 2016 then, or I'm wondering how many times payments have been made then if it's already paid up?
If I might, it is paid up. It's as Commissioner Collins put it at the time, we were loaning ourselves the money out of the fund,
right,
purchase the engines. The intent was to replenish that 6258 reserve fund over a period of 6 years. But I think we might have done it 1 year, maybe it was in 2017, we completely replenished it so that those funds, that 1.2 approximate, were available for future purchases of engines.
Okay.
Now it may be, if I can continue this for a moment, maybe it's advisable to have more in there for engines because they probably cost more now. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think that we want to revise that number and then set a new amortization schedule based on our future needs, and we could do that. And is that a good tool for us to leave that in place? The reserve fund of 6258.
Well, I think it is a tool.
Yeah. So I think that's the intent here, is we want to use that as a tool after we identify what our needs are, and then that may be in our best interest to do after we know what our anticipated funds are going to be.
Do we have an upcoming workshop for apparatus? Is anyone aware of that?
August.
Okay.
So that would all be included in the strategic plan, Commissioner Pfeiffer.
Okay.
And we want to present that once we get information about the lid lift.
Okay, sounds great.
And we have to be really careful what we discuss, like we are tonight. We're only supposed to discuss the basic things that we need to do to keep operating. When we get something like the end report, which includes apparatus, I guess if we really needed that to fall into one of these meetings, we could, but I think the intent is for us to have a meeting where people could show up and more easily comment. Reading this stuff from Sure and from the governor, that's kind of the feeling that I got. But I guess what I would prefer to put money in this year, and then when we buy whatever we need to buy, we can see where we are and how much more we need to put back in, instead of letting the whole thing go. I think we have to take a motion to make the resolution go away if we don't stick to it, because the way it's written, we're supposed to put money in this year and next.
Has this resolution then been revisited in other years, say 2018, 2019? I'm unfamiliar with the resolution and how it's been revisited. Has this discussion happened yearly since 2016?
That's a good question, and I don't believe it has. I believe last year we put money in.
I think we should table this till August. I don't want to get rid of it, but it's not like we couldn't redo it. However, it's a good document, and we should revisit it in August.
Yeah, I agree. We don't have to move anything till December 31st.
Right.
So we have time. So are you okay with that, Commissioner Pfeiffer?
Sure, you bet.
Could I just mention one more thing? This is Board Secretary Taylor.
Yep.
The document you're looking at, that schedule, that's. I don't believe that is a resolution. The resolution that it is referencing is just the one that's sort of reestablishing that Fund 6258, the capital reserve, and what items can be used, what items can be purchased from that fund. This was just a schedule of restoring that fund.
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, when we discuss it again, maybe we need to have both the resolution and the schedule for replenishing in front of us so we can make a better decision.
Okay. Yeah.
It
sounds good.
It was a useful tool, and we've proved that. And so we could revisit it, revise the numbers, utilize that strategy again.
I like it.
Okay. Sounds good.
You're okay with that? Okay. So, Chief and Board Secretary, we're going to push that off until hopefully we can meet and discuss the annual report, or not annual report, I'm sorry.
Strategic plan?
The strategic plan, which could be, heck, at this point, it could be September, we don't know. So, we will push that off since everybody's okay with that. And we are going to move.
They get staff time to digest after August.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to surplus.
So I included in your packet a list of surplus items. They're all items we no longer need, and I would ask the board if they would grant me the permission to surplus them as we saw fit. We have some neighboring agencies that are interested in some of the equipment, especially the life packs.
Oh, cool.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, I would prefer it to go to a neighbor if they need it, if they can use it at a reasonable price, which is up to you. And the other thing is the air system off the old air rig.
Yes.
And we can do the same. We can offer that out the same way. So I know you'll do that and do the best deal you can for us. So I don't want that to go to Stout unless it has to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chief Maurer?
Yes, sir.
What about some of the SCBA's? Weren't we going to have some of that go into surplus?
The previous MSA ones, I can't remember off the top of my head what Chief Newberry decided to do with them, if we're donating them or if they're going surplus. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, I was curious. I'm sure you'll make the best use of them. You know, that there were some fire departments who didn't have any SCBAs in foreign countries of some of our district residents, and you know, I just didn't know if they were available to purchase, and if somebody wanted to buy that stuff. One man's junk's another man's treasures. I don't mean to be so, but anyway, I was just curious.
Yeah, we will definitely
became
look into
available.
it.
I thought we were doing some sort of a trade-in on those. No.
Commissioner Losbeck, it's been so long since I was involved in that project, I just can't remember.
Okay, I thought we were doing some sort of a trade-in on at least the masks, if not the whole unit.
I do believe that Scott's going to do some trade-in credit on the equipment.
Okay.
Well, that'd be ideal. Okay.
Okay, is there any other new business? Hearing none, we are going to move to roundtable good of the order.
I just had two items. So we got notification from legal counsel that we're still moving through the Freedom Foundation request for information. At this point, there's still nothing our district needs to do. They just were notifying us that it's still there. So, and then the other one is the FFB has asked that we do a joint commissioner meeting with both Clarkford and CCFD6. I've been meeting with Chief Knorr discussing the future of 151 and what we think that would look like for both our departments. So I think by that meeting in September, we'd have something to present. So I can ask tomorrow at the meeting if we can schedule a joint meeting with the commissioners if you would like.
What would a date like that look like?
I'd like to get to phase 3 at least before we do it so we can meet in person, but
Okay.
be my choice.
I agree.
Okay, then I'll just keep continuing to work on it with Chief Knorr, and we'll be ready when we're ready.
Okay. Just let the other two board members know, I did speak to Chief Maurer, thinking that we might get to move to phase 3, which we didn't. And she had a great idea as far as the 6 feet apart, and that we could set something up in the truck bay, and we could spread people way out. So when the time comes, I think she has a plan. We could be 6 feet apart. We might still have to wear masks. But I think, after talking to her, I think we could probably make it doable. So she has a plan B. So when we go to phase 3, we might have the opportunity to do that, just so you guys know.
Great, thank you.
And the question and answer mailer that our consultant is putting together is going to, I think, mailed in about a week. Is that right, Chief? We have a meeting tomorrow, but I think in about a week those are supposed to go in the mail.
They'll go out July 17th.
17th, okay. And then that's about when the ballots are supposed to get mailed out too. So I think the timing is good. And you've seen that question and answer flyer before. I know it was in one of your packets. So those are going out, and absentee ballots are going to go out, and we'll see what happens. So
I should also add, Commissioner, that we do YouTube live town hall meetings regarding the lid lift. The first one will be on July 17th at 5:30, and the second one on July 21st at 5:30. So it'll be the same format that we're using here, where people can type in and ask questions about the lid lift.
I think you're going to have a great response at the Zoom from the Business Association tomorrow. So that'll be a good audience for you.
Good. Yeah, and we've done only one other live presentation, and that was with the Salmon Creek Lions. But we've reached out to everybody, so hopefully we get some traction.
Chief Taylor, could you give me the 2 dates you cut out? And I missed those 2 dates for the presentations.
Yeah, so the first one's July 17th at 5:30 p.m., and we'll have the link on our external webpage. And the second one is July 21st at 5:30 p.m. before the board meeting.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
And I received a phone call from a longtime acquaintance of mine, and our Station 3 crew, and I don't know the day, unfortunately, or I'd give him kudos, but our Station 3 crew responded on his mom, who was at no COVID, but a medical crisis. He got there before she was transported, and he had nothing but good things to say about our crew. He said he felt that they bent over backwards to provide information and to take care of her, and how courteous they were, and how proud he was to know her mom was getting that kind of care. So I wanted that. Station 3, I don't know the exact date. I just wanted to pass that on. And one of the reasons why I think our lid lift has a good opportunity to pass, I think, is our folks in the field have a lot to do with it. And that's just an example, and I just wanted to pass that on. So thank you.
Commissioner Losbeck, if you have more information about it in private, I'd be happy to reach out to that company and let them know too.
Okay, I will do that. Any other roundtable go to the order? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was wanting to comment on, I believe it was the COVID impact on small business. They're going to be sending out a questionnaire on that and how that COVID impacted the small business. And I know that for myself, paying taxes on a business that couldn't generate revenue for 4 months, it was very difficult to do. And anyway, so through the business association, I think we should definitely take the time to give them that information. I think it was Peter Van Norwick or something like that reached out, and they're going to be filling that out. Usually people might not respond to it, but this being a irregular year and extenuating circumstances on finances of small business, I really think it's important to give that accurate feedback. And I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but I think more this year than ever we need to get that message out.
Well, my only other comment is I got the assessment from Peter Van Norwick on my house, and it went up. And I'm suspecting, I was wondering because of the COVID, how that would affect house prices, and it really hasn't. I think our assessed value is going to go up maybe even 5%, and people got those maybe in the last couple weeks, and I don't know if that'll affect the lid lift vote or not. I would hope not, but I think the assessed value of the district is going to go up. So we'll see.
Yeah, it was modest.
Yeah.
And so, anyway.
Didn't go down. So, anything else before we move on? Okay, hearing nothing, we need I need a motion to authorize payment of current bills, authorize monthly commissioner compensation.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll do this again in 2 weeks, and I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.